The other option is parts car still. Do I still use the Gold Olds for parts? Beautiful day. I got the car out and I'm actually going to give it a bath, and I'm going to use none other than Comet. Now, of course, you don't use this on good paint. Most of the paint on this thing is completely trashed. It's flat, has no gloss to it. This side here has been repainted, so we're going to leave this alone. But the hood, the roof, the passenger side, or the driver's side there, all completely destroyed. So we're going to see what we can do with it, and see if we can bring some gloss out of it. My daughter's waving through the window. But yeah, so we're going to see what we can get done with this. So yeah, got the Comet there, a sponge, and as you can see, yeah, there is no gloss at all in this paint. No reflection, none, completely dead. So this driver's side here, I think some of it could come back with a polish, but we're just gonna do the Comet wash on all of it and see what we end up with. See if we can make this thing get some gloss to it. What I'd like to have is end up with a nice looking sheen. Maybe kind of have it look like some of the vehicles you see on YouTube and stuff with the Poppy's patina or the wipe on clear coat, because the car does have some pretty cool patina on it. We'll see. So probably what I'm going to end up doing is, because this paint is really bad, I'm going to do a test with the soft side, and then I've seen some of the guys as well use the abrasive side and bring it back to life as well. And after that, I'm actually going to go through this and compound and polish it and see just how much gloss I can bring back out of this destroyed, nasty paint. We'll see. It's gonna eat away a lot of the paint as it is. Just by doing this, but we'll see what we end up with. All right, bring in here, see if we can see this at all. You can see it is still, that paint is pretty bad. It is a lot of cracking, a lot of check marks in it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna hit it with the heavy abrasive side of the Scotch-Brite, or the sponge. Let's try that. All right, well, it took away some of the staining. You can see down here is a little more brown than up here, as we still got some bad spots here. And using that heavy Scotch-Brite side of the sponge there, left some scratches in there. So I'm going to go ahead and hit it with the Menzerna 400. Hi. And the buffer, and let's see what we get out of that. Okay, so that pulled up all the oils that were in it, all the staining from the polish. It does have a little gloss now. That's promising. So next up, we're going to try the 3D Speed, and this stuff is amazing. It's just an all-in-one polish. It's a light finishing polish with some wax and sealant in it, and this stuff has been my go-to for a number of years with all kinds of stuff for a lot of reasons. So I'm going to give this a try, and I'm going to try it both on the spot that we Comet washed and then compounded, as well as up here where it's just stained and haven't touched it yet. I just want to see what it does up here. And of course, my bottle is just about empty. I have another one ordered. That won't be here till tomorrow, so I just get to play around with that today. Alright, well, depending on the angle, from here down where I didn't Comet wash and I didn't compound, I can see a difference between this spot and this spot. You can just tell it doesn't have the same gloss. This isn't super glossy, but it does have more gloss than this does. So I think we're going to go ahead and proceed and do the whole car with the Comet wash, and then we'll compound it and then do the 3D Speed with it. So one of the spots I am particularly interested in is this roof. The roof is probably the worst paint on the car. It is really, really bad. It looks like construction paper. So I'm curious to see how this ends up turning out. All right, so I just tried something, and I gotta say, yeah, genius, stupid, I don't know. But I think it works pretty darn good. Basically what I did is Comet wash on steroids. So instead of using my sponge and wearing my arm out trying to do all that, I used my polisher with the Comet. Just a light mist there. Yeah, you can touch it, yep. So I used the Comet with my polisher and just ran over it real quick, and it actually did really, really well. The nice thing is you can see back here, there's a whole lot of this spray paint back here that looked like somebody tried to attempt to cover up the rust, and it was all over through here. And I actually quickly removed most of it, except for this spot here. It's actually heavy enough I can feel it. But yeah, so it's actually really impressive. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the rest of the car, and you can actually see the spot right here. I was doing this area with it, and I just wanted to see, because you can see how stained up this paint is. I wanted to check, and I ran over this real quick, and look at how much that cleaned that up. Just super quick like that. So we're going to go ahead and do the rest of this that way and see what we end up with. Okay, so let's talk about something. So I was using the Comet with the sponge, and it's taken forever, being a pain. I tried polishing, and it was kind of being a pain, taking forever. And I thought, why not, be stupid and try them both, right? So I got a nice heavy white polishing, heavy compound pad, and I've got my Comet here. And so what I found is I take and remove some of the water there, so there's not a ton of it on there. And I'm just going to do this part here. Just go through here. I would say this is last resort. Do not do this on nice paint. Don't Comet wash in general on nice paint, especially don't do this on nice paint. I'll turn it way down because it's watery and it splatters. Then you touch more water there. There we go. Spritz. Alright. That doesn't do. Go. I don't know how well you can see that on camera. Yeah, you can see the line there right here. So now let's go ahead and take the blade. What a world of difference that makes. That is huge. Let's see if we can get you a better view here. Yeah, that's a pretty big difference. Now that was easier and quicker than doing that by hand, and I'm sure, word to the wise, caution, whatever you want to say, I'm sure it took off way more paint as well. So, use this advice with caution. Be very careful. But this paint was so destroyed, it was the last resort anyway, so I decided I'd go ahead and give it a try, and I gotta tell you, I'm pretty dang impressed. So I plan on coming through with a finish polish, and just to try to get some gloss out of this afterwards, and see what we end up with. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this up. Okay, brake drum. Brake drum is off, and I couldn't find anything suspicious immediately. Everything seems to be here. As far as, the springs and everything, I thought there was going to be something that had popped off and kind of fell on the bottom. And I'm looking around, and I see we got some shininess on here. Well, it kind of matches with up in here, up in the top. So I'm thinking what happened, I ended up putting the brake drum back on. I think what happened is when I was taking it off, I was hitting back here with the hammer, and I'm thinking I might have banged the backing plate into it a little bit. So a little percussive maintenance. It looks like it's good to go. So we'll throw this back together. Then I'm going to try to take that back bumper off, see what I can get back going with that, and see if I can find a way to support that. Bumper off the olds. Well, this aluminum, we'll call it. I don't know if it's actually aluminum. I think it is, but yeah. This is, might as well be powder. This is pretty bad. So I don't know what we're going to do with this yet. Probably what I'm going to do is, the right way to fix it, and I'm just going to get like a treated 2x4 and slap that on the back side there and sandwich it in there. I think that'd be just fine. Redneck fix to the rescue. Got a piece of treated 2x4 in here and some 5/16 slag bolts. And so this will actually come up and go, it actually goes inside to around here and over to about here. So is it, you know, ideal? Sure, we'll call it that. It'll work. This will be the temporary permanent fix. Look at that side, rock solid. That is very stable. This side, she moves, she's got some flex. Comet so we're gonna do this side as well. And I did some polishing on it as well. You can see it's got some level of gloss on it, but it's nothing crazy. The paint is still really, really rough shape. It's still bad. Nothing really is gonna fix that. But it come out a little bit better. The trunk is still ratted. The paint's beyond saving, you know, as expected. Nothing crazy. The bumper here, the 2x4s fixed that up nicely. That worked really well. Bumper's actually really nice and solid now. Before it was sagged quite a bit, so that's a lot better. So I just took some chunks of treated 2x4 and bolted them in place for the bumper supports behind the aluminum there, and threw it all back on. It worked really well. So, but this brings me to my next problem. Is now I've driven it a little bit. I got the brake dragging issue fixed up. But what I have now, the problem is this engine has a really, really bad blow-by. I'm not sure. I guess, yeah, it is just terrible. You pull off the oil cooler or the oil fill cap, and it blows smoke like crazy. The crankcase ventilation lines that lead to the intake, when it's running, they actually even with it running, it will even with all the intake hooked up and pulling through that, it will still overpower the crankcase vapors, will overpower what the engine will pull in. So it's really bad, and it smokes like crazy driving down the road. I've driven a little bit, I've hammered on it, and it just, no matter what I do, it just smokes really bad. So trying to go cycle through some options. So take this engine out, put it in the Goldsmobile. It's an option. I've got the 350 small block from my Cutlass. I could throw that in the Oldsmobile. I don't love the idea of dropping a Chevy small block in that car. I want it to be an Olds engine, but I have it and it's there. It would be exhaust and probably some transmission work, because I'd rebuild the 204R that came out of my Cutlass to throw that in there. So it'd be exhaust, transmission work, drive shaft. Still a decent amount of work there. I have the new old stock Olds diesel back there still. What about that? Maybe I'll take that. I don't love the idea, because I think that engine is just cool sitting there not being used. I'd like to keep it around. The other option is parts car still. Do I still use the gold Olds for parts for this? Wouldn't take a whole lot, paint some pieces, throw it together, and this would be back on the road. I don't think there's any real heavy frame damage or anything super structural on this car that would prevent just some, swapping of parts and be on the road. So let me know what you think. I'm kind of curious to see what all you guys think of this plan. I'm kind of leaning towards this. I don't know why it took me so long to think of it, but I just got this idea popped into my head the other day, and I'm kind of liking this idea. I think this might be the way to go.